We can move here.
Oh, no, please don't.
Oh, sorry.
I'll go around.
Okay.
I already have a power.
How long have you been here?
In this position?
Yeah.
This is my second year as principal at Hermiston High School, yeah.
Yeah, and then you said you were at the middle school?
I was a principal at Auburn Middle School for 4 years.
You can
okay.
slate it.
And then, did you say you were there when they first implemented the lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you part of that, or?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes.
Okay, we
I was at the middle school.
are ready.
Well, not field ed.
It was advanced.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it happened
2012.
with field ed?
2011.
No.
Looks good.
No, we started the flex. Well, the flex stuff was.
Is
Last
this
year was
time,
the first
Yeah.
my
Yeah, because I went down.
Contracted with FELA since 2012.
Oh.
What about it? I don't know if it's
Because all my mind says is I think Odyssey,
Oh, yeah.
or Play-Doh and all that.
But when Abby met them, started working here.
You did. You got it.
That's fine, we won't go into.
Thank
we
you,
won't
sir.
go into it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Do you want him to say his name?
Oh, yes, sorry. Please say your name and spell it.
Okay, me. Yeah.
Tom Spoo, TOMSPOO.
All right. Okay, so describe to somebody else in the country, another principal in a different part of the country, what Hermiston School District is like.
The Hermiston School District is a community of roughly 17,000 in the population of the city itself. The school district itself has right around 5,000 students. Hermiston High School is a student population of just under 1,600. I think last count was 1,575, somewhere along those lines.
Great. Oh yeah, will you just introduce yourself? Sorry, say your name and title.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my name is Tom Spoo, and I'm principal at Hermiston High School.
Great. Okay, so now will you describe Hermiston High School?
Hermiston High School is the largest high school in Eastern Oregon. The high school is roughly just under 1,600 students, not K through 12, 9 through 12. We are.
Okay, let's go ahead and start over.
Start that over again, because the K part, that's fine. I got it. I figured maybe with.
So just describe Hermiston High School and what the kids are like.
Okay, excellent. So, Hermiston High School is a high school of we're a 9 through 12 school. We have roughly just under 1,600 kids that attend Hermiston High School. Our Hispanic population is right at 45-46%. Our socioeconomic status, we roam from that 54 to just over 60% with our free and reduced. It's a comprehensive high school. We offer all the programs that traditional high schools offer, along with an extensive CTE or career and technical education. We run the full gamut from agriculture to business to family and consumer sciences. And something that meets the needs of many of our students.
I'm just sort of wondering, I see your eyes shifting to me sometimes.
Sorry.
So I may
I'll
It's
take.
okay. Can you pick up on that, or is it okay?
Yeah, just look at Beth.
I'll work hard to look at Beth.
Yeah, sorry.
I can move.
You can look over my head if you want,
Yeah.
just in this way. Yeah.
So my question would be, do you have a migrant population that you have to worry about students coming in or out? Is that an issue?
Yes, we do have a migrant problem here at Hermiston, though not as bad now as it used to be. Many of our students, we would lose them middle part of December and get them back. Sometimes several months later. That is not as significant as it used to be. We're getting more and more second and third generation Hispanic families that stay. The first generation families, there's not as many of them as what there used to be. So we're seeing more.
Good. Okay. All right. So let's start with what are the biggest challenges at the high school, and then we'll talk about how you're addressing those with online and blended.
The biggest challenges for us at Hermiston High School is meeting the requirements for a student to graduate, there's so many things on the plate for a child today that take them off track, and then the requirements to graduate are more stringent. We have smarter balance testing. With smarter balance testing, if you're not able to meet that level, you have to then meet essential skills through the means of passing our performance tasks. That's a lot for a kid to meet, especially with all the other things that are happening in kids' lives, and that's tough, and for parents to understand that, because it's not a world that I grew up in. It's not a world that many of these parents grew up in. And in many of the situations with the kids, with the parents that we're seeing today, some, maybe not many, but some of those parents don't understand the value of what it means to get a high school diploma, or let alone look forward to that post-secondary piece with their child. And so that's a big deal. It's been a big deal in the Hermiston School District, and in many schools for that matter, for a long, long time. And so getting kids to understand that and providing options for kids, and expect parents to understand that. So a lot of it's about educating the community, and that's one of our district initiatives, is that community collaboration, and we work hard at that. We still have a long way to go, but we work hard at building that collaboration. So it's not just about educating the child, it's about educating the parents, and I think we're seeing some success. So.
Excellent. Okay, so some of those challenges, how are they being addressed with online and blended learning?
So, with that said, you have to provide options for kids. We're in a day and age where the traditional, you go to school at 8 o'clock, you get done at 4. In our case, we start at 8:25 and we get done at 3:25. Doesn't always fit. It doesn't always fit all these kids, and especially some of the lives that they lead. The same token, we also have to provide options for those kids who can't make it. And so I think, with blended and or online instruction, it provides opportunities for kids. Especially those that are post-secondary bound, I think is probably the right way to put that. Both my daughters have went to college. I have one that's almost 30 and one that's in early 20s, and they saw online learning at one level or another in college. But yet our schools, I think across the board, aren't meeting that need. So when kids get to college, yes, they're familiar with electronics and they're familiar with computers, but they really know how to apply it in a sense where they're actively, truly engaged in the learning process, especially at a high level. So that's what we're hoping to provide. And I think we're starting to see some benefit from that, where these kids have an opportunity to try it. And even if they're not 100% successful, that's okay, because this is what they're going to experience in college. And so this does better prepare our kids for that next step.
So I heard you say kind of two things, like providing kids, or actually more three things. Flexibility with their schedule, more options for courses, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then preparing them for post-secondary life. Is that right? Would you mind kind of saying those three together?
Or together or separate things?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, together, I think, if you don't mind saying that.
I absolutely, I can do that. So one, it provides an opportunity for a child to pursue courses that we can't offer. And I don't know, I don't think it really matters whether you're in Eastern Oregon or if you're in the Portland-Beaverton School District. We have FTE that provides X number of classes and X number of options for licensure. So we need to help enrich that child, especially that child that wants that option. Class in Japanese, for example, or microeconomics, those things that we're not going to offer in the Hermiston School District and probably never will. That provides those kids who are unbelievably self-directed, want to push themselves, whose parents are supportive. That's another piece to this. It has to work as well as you have to have the parent support behind it. That provides that opportunity for that child. The other piece to that is the credit recovery piece. We also use credit recovery as a part of our online. Once again, certain number of FTE or set amount of FTE that we have in the Hermiston School District, specifically at the high school, and this is a means for kids to earn credit back, so to speak.
Great, I'm glad you brought that up because
I think I left the third one out though. Which one did
so
I
there's
now?
like flexibility and then with scheduling too,
Yeah.
I guess, right? And then
I gotta scratch my note.
preparing them for post-secondary, right?
Yeah.
Those are
Did I hit all? I'm
Let's
not sure.
do the start stop. real
Okay.
quick. Don't worry about it, Doug.
It's the
Can you grab that slate and
yes,
just
the
watch
start
us
stop
step,
the
Wendy?
cameras. Real quick there.
Sorry.
So you had talked about you talked about the course
Yeah.
options,
Mhm.
credit recovery, and then you talked just again just a sentence or two about flexibility, the online and blended.
You're gonna hire
It provides our students more flexibility, and then and it also
Yep.
prepares them for post-secondary life.
Even the one.
So you want me to talk about the blended piece more? Spend more
Either
time
one, online or blended.
Okay.
Ready when you are.
I can talk more
Yeah.
about the blended, about what their day potentially looks like
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, go right ahead. Yep.
Though she could probably do a better job than I could. So.
No, go right ahead.
Okay, so I can start talking.
Absolutely.
Just roll.
Roll.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that the beauty of the blended learning is kids are in classes. They're in. Well, I'll use an example of language arts, or senior level language arts, or in our case we call it Com 4. Those kids, they're more mature. That's where we started at. Hopefully we'll roll that down to younger levels, lower grades, as time goes on. However, we've started it out with the seniors with the flex learning classes, and the beauty of that is, and we're not where we want to be at yet. However, the design behind that is students will show up to class at set times, depending on how things are going in the class. The teacher then can now release them to technically not show up the next day. However, there's expectations that have to be met, and part of that is that online instruction. What I would like to see down the road is that those kids are here. They might be in the library. They might be in an open computer lab. They might be in our commons. They're utilizing the electronic devices that they're using anyway. In some cases it's their cell phones. In many cases it's laptops, iPads, you name it. It doesn't matter to me. But they're using that tool to further their education through their flex class. Then they get brought back in. They tend to get brought back in as the class meets. Or probably more importantly, those kids that are struggling now are brought back in to the classroom. Those that are being successful don't have to come back. That's the ultimate goal. Now the teacher has the ability and the time to work with those kids that are struggling. And that probably is the most beautiful part about it. And at the same time, you can grab those kids that maybe they're being a wallflower. That's a big piece that are floating through the system. They float through 4 years of school, and they never really get pushed or challenged. But we know they have the aptitude to be successful, but we miss them because they're just quiet, they're shy, they don't talk, they don't participate. Hence they're not engaged. And if you're not engaged in your education, you're not learning at a high level. And that is probably the most beautiful part about it once we get to that level. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
That's great. Yeah.
Does it share tapping?
You'll be
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
sorry.
You're all right. You're all right.
You know any idea how hard it is for me to sit still?
Okay.
You're doing so awesome, but Olivia is exactly right. We do need to watch sound, but so far I think we're okay.
Okay,
You can tap your legs, but maybe not the chair.
Just,
I never stop moving.
Adjust your tie over the cable.
There we go.
Perfect. You're doing great.
Okay, I think we got like 3 more. How do you measure success at Hermiston High?
It's all about the culture of your building. So obviously we need graduation rates to get better. Okay, that's something that we're working very, very hard on. I believe that field ed will I believe that they do play a part in that. We need, obviously we need our kids being able to pass the smarter balance, or if you can use the term high stakes testing. Okay, but ultimately at the end of the day, I want the kid to walk across the stage to receive a diploma. I want that child to be a contributing member in society, regardless of what their next steps are. Of course, it's easier said than done, and so part of that comes back to a culture in your building. If you establish a culture in your building of where the teachers and the students like being at school, I mean, and every day is not going to be perfect. I get that, but the goal is to have teachers that want to be here, that enjoy working with children, and that students want to come to school. And by the way, they need to have a reason to come to school. I measure success when I see all that. So when I see higher graduation rates, when I see students passing more classes, when I see attendance rates go up. Attendance is a big deal. It's a big deal in all schools across the country. When I see those things happen, I get excited.
That was great. Yeah, that was excellent. Okay. What would you tell other principals about online and blended learning? Like, if they haven't implemented it at their own school, what would you tell them?
I would say you absolutely need to explore it, dive into it, look at it, and then start having conversations with your staff. And then, from there, because it's about options for kids. It's not the same world that we grew up in. I've been in education for over 20 years now. It's a completely different world. And it doesn't matter to me whether you're a big school or a small school. You have to look at ways to provide options for kids. And kids, they want to learn. Kids have an inherent desire to learn. Sometimes we just don't see it because we haven't pushed that child or engaged that child, or for that matter, asked the child what it is that they want. The traditional concept of sitting in a room with four walls in a chair with a paper and a pencil doesn't always apply. Now, I'm a little bit older, so I like bricks and mortar education, to be honest with you. But it doesn't matter what I like. It's about the kids that are going through our system. We need to meet their needs, and I think you can do both. I absolutely believe there is an unbelievable value still in bricks and mortar education, but we have to start exploring that. And by the way, one of the biggest fears I think of some of our teachers was we're going to take their jobs away, their jobs were going to disappear. That absolutely hasn't happened. I think it just opens doors. It opens doors for kids, and we have never, nor do I ever see us reducing FTE because of online education.
That was perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Oh,
That was,
seriously?
yeah, that was so good.
Well,
okay.
that part was easy.
Yeah, that was
We had a perfect
awesome.
endpoint too. I already hit it that one.
Last one. Why do you do what you do?
Wow, I told you earlier this would be the toughest question of all.
Yeah.
I did not get into education because it was my calling. That I got into it because I needed a degree, and so I got into teaching by accident and decided I kind of liked kids, and then I liked working with them, and I liked, even though you don't always see the fruits of your labor till years and years later, a lot of times years and years later. I did not intend to get into administration for the same reasons. I had no intention to going to the dark side, as they say. And then I got into it, and I thought, it was another chapter in my life, and I saw this huge value. I believe in the culture of a building and trying to be a piece of changing the culture in a building to be better, and not always so much better for the adults, though it needs to be better for adults as well, but better for our kids. And I constantly keep getting challenged about my thinking about education, about what's going on, and I think the older I get, the more I think probably passionate I become about education, and I just hope that continues for several more years, and hopefully I play my small part in having an influence on kids, and then the reality is I work more with adults in this position. And hopefully I have some influence in influencing the adults to continue to pursue themselves to become better teachers. That's a big deal to me, that we always need to constantly be doing something to better ourselves, whether it be taking an online class, i.e., or just taking classes in general, whether it's something we offer through the school district or spending your summers exploring. So.
Yeah, I actually have one more. Sorry. Why do you think that Hermiston has gotten on board with online and blended learning? The district. Why do you think that you guys are on board versus a school that might not, or a district that might not?
I think the reason for that is Hermiston in general, not just the Hermiston School District, the community of Hermiston is, it might sound weird because you're not from here, But Hermiston's a very, very progressive community. If you look at the industry that takes place here with agriculture, with processing, with transportation, it's very, very progressive. So I think people that live here have that same mindset. People that live here value education. Yeah, I might have mentioned earlier that we have some parents that don't understand certain things with some of our first-generation families that live here. But overall, the community of Hermiston has been unbelievably supportive of education. I mean, it's the reason that I chose to stay in Hermiston and raise my kids here. I mean, that's the sole reason that I chose to stay here. I mean, we're not a perfect school system by any means, but that, I'm here to tell you, is the reason I chose to stay.
Yeah. Anything else you can? That was awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. You gave us so much.
Sure, everybody.
I feel like a dork.
Everybody stand by just a second. We'll record a little room tone. The HVAC.
Oh.
When I edit it, sometimes the room tone goes up and down, so you record a little bit of this to smooth it out, so it doesn't sound like from air conditioning to air conditioning.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but stand by, everyone.